So, as I told you, yeah, the webinar is has a very busy agenda. We have two small sessions about the DS03 and 02 topics, small introduction about the scope and expected impact of these two topics. After that, we'll start with Sentinel project. We'll present our project, the scope, some introductions so you can get idea about our project, the main achievements, and some technical also information. It will last around 15 minutes. The second project is the PALANTIR project. After that, we have the TRAPEZE, puzzle and cyber kit for SME project. After this, we will have a small coffee break, 15 minutes. Then we will continue with the next topic, DS02. And again, the scope, expected impact of this topic, and then we will have presentation from 5 projects funded under this topic, starting from ARCADIAN-IoT project, then Irish project, ERATOSTHENES project. Then we will have around 1 hour lunch break, and we will complete the first session with 2 remaining projects, IDUNN and SECANT. After having presented all the project, we will have a second session, which will last around 1 hour, when we will have open discussion and brainstorming about technical as well as non-technical aspects concerning general to European project, and especially focusing on the hot topics that are related to all the projects, today's project, which has to do with GDPR, data privacy, security issues, ethical and legal aspects. And finally, we will have also short discussion about dissemination, some challenges, opportunities, how we manage to disseminate and exploit the project results. So it will be open discussion. Of course, we will have some slides to moderate the session, but feel free to share with us your opinion and your concerns, and why not your experience previews, so we can get together and discuss and learn more. Okay, the final 10 minutes slot will just wrap up and the event closure, and you will be free to express your opinion as well and give us feedback. So moving on, just let me know if you see well and if I share my screen correctly before I can get started.
Cyranoos, perhaps can you put it in full screen?
Okay. Now?
Yeah, much better. So
Okay,
we can see
great.
the details.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah. Thank you very much. So the scope and objective of this webinar is to explore possible collaboration between EU-funded projects relevant to cybersecurity, personal data protection, and GDPR compliance topics. Of course, to network with experts from the data protection, legal, and cybersecurity landscape, and to enhance technical and non-technical know-hows and identify common challenges that can be addressed collaboratively. What we expect from this webinar is that our participants will be better informed about the scope, expected impact of these topics, and the project funded under these topics. And also the attendees will get ideas to tackle challenges affecting the project's smooth development and implementation, as well as maximize uptake of project results. So moving on, the topic VS03. Oops. The main scope is to develop targeted, user-friendly and cost-effective solutions, enabling SMEs or MEs to manage, monitor, forecast, and assess their security, their and personal data protection risks in an easy way and affordable manner. To become more aware of vulnerabilities, attacks, and risks that influence their businesses, to create collaboration between SMEs and MEs associations and CERTs enabling, increase the knowledge sharing in digital security across SMEs and between SMEs and MEs, and democratize access to tools and solutions of a varied satisfaction level, matching specific needs and available resources. What we expect is that the outcome of this project funded under this topic will enable citizens, SMEs and MEs better protected and become active players in digital single market, enabling implementing MIS and GDPR directives. It is expected security, privacy, and personal data protection that are strengthened. Sorry, a shared responsibility along all players in the digital economy, including citizens and SMEs and MEs. We expect to reduce economic damage caused by harmful cyber attacks and privacy incidents and data protection breaches, and pave the way for a trustworthy EA digital environment benefiting all economic and social actors. The project that are funded under this topic among all are Sentinel, PALANTIR, Puzzle, TRAPEZE, CyberKit for SME, Geiger, Trust Aware, and Soteria. And we have today 5 projects presenting in this webinar, and we will have dedicated sessions from these projects. So moving on, we will start presenting you the Sentinel project. So you know me already. I have introduced myself, so we can move on. I will start the presentation by sharing with you our promotional video. So let's move on.
Do you email your customers? Does your business keep track of employees' payroll? If yes, then you are working with personal data, and you need to keep this data safe and secure. You need to be GDPR compliant. GDPR stands for General Data Protection Regulation. It was enacted in the European Union to protect EU citizens' personal data, and in cases of non-compliance, there are fines in place reaching up to 20 million euros. Being GDPR compliant is crucial for many reasons, such as providing your business with a marketing advantage or building trust with your customers. But is it possible to keep up with the terms of GDPR compliance and digital security of data in an easy and effective way? With Sentinel, it is possible. It provides a complete privacy, cybersecurity, and a data protection suite that enables you to achieve business security, safeguard your customers and your assets in an efficient and affordable manner. Its ambitious team from data privacy and cybersecurity domains have developed a self-assessment toolkit to help you assess your company's workflows. And brings up a set of security policies and recommendations tailored to your business needs. So, boost your competence whilst ensuring appropriate company policies and procedures that are built around secure and GDPR compliant processes by leveraging the Sentinel services. Visit www.sentinel-project.eu and learn more about Sentinel.
So yes, this was a short video, our first promotional video, um, which presents sorry, which presents our project, introductions mainly, and the scope and the impact. Let's move on. So the motivation and landscape of GDPR, data privacy and personal data protection in EU for SMEs and DEMIs. We have here some key information that we achieved based on the search that we made. So we find out that SMEs represent around 99% of all EU businesses, and they created around 85% of new jobs in Europe. And the role of SMEs in the data value chain, they have many roles, such as data owners, data acquisition, data aggregators. They may also storage data or analyze data, be data users or provide data services. Though 75% of SMEs or generally business entities are failing to meet the GDPR requirements, and 25% don't consider themselves knowledgeable about the GDPR regulation. Concerning the costs, GDPR costs are related to installation costs of technical and organizational measures, as well as maintenance costs. And usually implementation costs are at least twice than maintenance. And by as speaking about GDPR cost for small businesses, it can achieve up to 50,000 euros annually. So current data protection challenges, again based on our search and research that we have done, it seems that there is a lack of awareness of GDPR obligations, and sometimes GDPR regulation is not so clear to end users and SMEs. Usually, current SMEs and business entities, they have out of date operating systems and business models. And even though if they want to make a further step and to be GDPR compliant, there are multiple platforms in the market, and of course for especially for small SMEs, though the platforms are there, they have very tight budget, so they cannot afford these platforms to install in their operating systems. So based on this motivation and the current challenges, so what is Sentinel? Sentinel aims to provide a complete privacy, cybersecurity, and data protection suite that enables small and medium enterprises, and especially small enterprises, to achieve business security, to ensure that their customers' assets are secure and in a efficient and affordable manner. Sentinel aims to integrate security and privacy technologies into a unified digital architecture, and after that, it applies disruptive intelligence for compliance. The next very important pillar of Sentinel is that it educates SMEs on GDPR requirements and how to achieve compliance. It automates GDPR compliance and provision of recommendations for personal data protection and cybersecurity. And finally, it provides a plethora of tools for real-time monitoring and threat mitigation. So basically, Sentinel is based on providing cybersecurity, GDPR, personal data protection compliance, and cyber range and simulation-based trainings for SMEs and DMEs. The project composed of 13 partners. It's innovation action. Okay, this is the budget. It started last year, June, and it has duration 3 years. Here is our partners, our team. As I told you previously, we have 13 partners, both coming from academy and industry, and as well as also private sectors. Our objectives, we have 5 core objectives, and we aim to achieve and fulfill all these objectives within the lifespan of the project. So the first objective is to develop and support an end-to-end digital privacy and personal data protection compliance framework. The second objective is to provide scientific and technological advances in data protection compliant assessment. The third objective is to provide novel tools and services for enabling highly automated GDPR compliance for small and medium enterprises. Validation is, of course, a very important objective, and it's crucial, I guess, for all the project to validate the framework in the real world settings. We have 5 use cases in our project, more than 5, no, sorry. And I don't know what is happening with my voice today. And raise awareness and educate SMEs about personal data protection and cybersecurity processes. Okay, regarding the KPIs, here are on the left hand side, we included the most crucial KPIs, technical ones. So Sentinel will develop and will offer the 20 novel cybersecurity services, among which 10 will be dedicated to personal data protection and privacy assurance. Will aim to achieve around 40% improved privacy compliance efficiency. Next important KPI is about the reduction of costs, 40% via automation. And finally, more than 10 critical aspects will be addressed for long-term sustainability. It can be maintenance or software updates. And generally, by speaking in numbers, we have 27 technical, 17 impact, and 25 dissemination KPIs. Okay, this is the overall roadmap of the Sentinel project up to month 18. We are in month 12. This is the first year. Some of you have already passed this stage, but maybe most of you are near to this stage. It's the time that we need to release our MVP, the first version of tools and services. In parallel, we have many dissemination and communication activities that are running. Many deliverables to be reported, delivered by the end of this month. And of course, we have also the first technical review meeting. And up to month 18, again, bunch of deliverables, the first integrated solutions, demonstration, first result from demonstration, the project technical review. Okay, so we are running in, and the project is running many activities, both technical and non-technical. Let's move on. So the landscape of which is the most important slides, I would say, starting from these slides, is presenting the landscape of our offerings, which is based on three main challenges currently existing in the domain. So the first offering is based on the fact that SMEs, small enterprises, generally they need training and education. So our first pillar of offering is based on this need. The second offering is based on that they need evidence-based GDPR compliance. And the third pillar offering is based on that, okay, we have to do with the business sector, with SMEs, business entities, and all of them, they keen to cut their costs. So we offer automation of all these processes so they can be affordable and effective for all of them. So starting from the SMEs training and education, Sentinel aims to assist SMEs to understand why individuals' data and privacy need protection and how their data processing activities affects cyber projects subjects' privacy. How we will do it? We will guide SMEs via profiling and assessment to understand what needs to be done to improve their privacy and achieve compliance. The second most important, crucial offering is based to evidence-based GDPR compliance, providing one-to-one link between privacy requirements, between the measures of and controls, cyber assets, configurations, and real-time monitoring. And the last offering, okay, through automation, we want to achieve cut cost and reduce costs. So we'll provide automated compliance and recommendations for GDPR compliance check, for data protection impact assessment. Sentinel will provide tailor-made recommendation for GDPR compliance. To organizational or technical measures, software and tools and training, and it will draft of also policies. Apart from this, it will also offer real-time monitoring for cybersecurity and privacy compliance. Speaking about the Sentinel architecture and its frameworks, it has the following main characteristics. We have module and extensions. We have 4 contacts and 5 plugins from partners and open sources. You may see on my on the screen right side hand the overall a simplified architecture, just to avoid confusing you. So it's a simple picture presenting the 4 main components of the Sentinel architecture. It's the first one is my Sentinel, which is the front end dashboard. A user can see in front of their dashboard and navigate to the rest of the components and contacts of the Sentinel via this element. The second part has to do with GDPR compliance and self-assessment. The third context is about recommendation, policy drafting, incident reporting, and monitoring. And finally, the observatory, which provides open access to knowledge base to all the users of the Sentinel framework. We have in the Sentinel project as 7 main use cases, starting from SME registration and profiling, compelling a self-assessment workflow, acquiring policy recommendations, consulting the observatory knowledge base, policy reinforcement monitoring, accident reporting and sharing, and receiving also security notification. For the MVP month 12, we are focusing on the first 4 use cases, and we will show our MVP by demonstrating these 4 use cases. The first use case to present you in more detail these use cases and what is the meaning of these use cases. The first one, SME registration, is the part when the SME representative registers the component, fills the related questionnaire, and the system stores a profile of the company. The second use case is where the user completes the self-assessment workflow that has been proposed by the Sentinel platform, adjusted to the SME profile based on their information, of course. The third use case is when the SME representative fills the company security profile and performs related self-assessment tasks indicated offered by the system. And after that, the system returns a tailor-made set of security policies. And the fourth one has to do with browsing the Sentinel Observatory knowledge base and assesses information about recently identified data and privacy breaches. I would like to mention that this observatory is continuously updated and synchronized with the external resources. So this was all about the general information about the technical part as well as the use cases of the project. Now, moving on and presenting some measures and numbers that we have achieved for the month 12 from the perspective of dissemination and communication activities. So here is the overall picture. We have published, submitted 3 conference papers up to now. Currently, we are also these days participating. Will participate by the end of this month 5 big events. Okay, networking activities with more than 10 projects. We have engaged with 3 digital innovation hubs. We started communication with them to see how we can start our collaboration together. We have produced also promotional material, flyers and posters, 2 of them, 4 webinars and SME-centric workshops up to now. We produced 1 video, promotional video, 3 newsletters, and also our first podcast is coming. And also some numbers from our communication in social media platforms. We achieved more than 500 followers in LinkedIn, more than 150 followers on Twitter, and okay, we have visitors in our website, more than 80 visitors monthly. I guess this was all from my part for this session, for this part. Thank you for your attention. Of course, you may find more information in our website, and feel free to follow us. Although I know that all of you follow us, and yeah, you can get more information from there as well. If there are any questions or uh, that you would like to ask, I will be happy to answer you all of them. If not, you can also type your questions in the chat so we can have a look afterwards and come back to you.
It's Alexander speaking from TRAPEZE-project. Thank you, Cyranusz, for this very insightful presentation. I have a question about the self-assessment center that you presented. So can you a little bit detail what does it do? Like if I'm an average Joe, just user scenario, so what do I get it if I use that?
Okay, so this is the core component of the Sentinel platform. Basically, after getting sorry. Okay. So can you hear me?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Probably somebody didn't mute the microphone, but
okay.
we
Because
can
I
hear you.
cannot see, I cannot see you. That's why I would share the screen. So basically, this is the core component of the Sentinel platform. After getting all the information required from the Sentinel. From the SME's profile, the first step that SMEs entered and fill in the questionnaire, the requested questions. This all data goes to a self-assessment process. So the system assess all this data provided by SMEs in order to assess their level of security, GDPR compliance, and all this stuff that we have within the projects, like to assess their GDPR compliance, to assess their data privacy and protection level, as well as cybersecurity level. Okay, after examining and assessing all this information, the system gives back information about where is the status of SMEs. Like if they are if they have enough measures within their organization, within their operating system, within their data flows. So this is the main idea of this specific component. I hope this was clear.
Yes,
So if I may give some examples, for example, the questionnaire asks information about technical and organizational measures that are in place in the SMEs or not. Also financial information, how much they spend, for example, for GDPR compliance or for any measures. So all this information from the technical and organization measures to almost number of employees, what kind of activities they do, because we take into account that the people that can use this, perhaps they have no awareness of what are the GDPR obligations. So this questionnaire gathers a lot of information from many different aspects so that it can give a complete overview at the end, after the self-assessment workflow, about if they are GDPR compliant or not, at what level, what needs to be done. So then there is a whole set of recommendations tailored to this questionnaire on what they can do. They can, for example, they can do some training that is within Sentinel, for example, CyberRange. Airbus offers CyberRange, or any open source training on GDPR that is also linked, that Sentinel can link the user to external training sources, open sources, or other GDPR compliance tools that are offered by the partners.
Okay, clear. Thank you very much.
Any other question? I guess no. So perhaps we can move on. So As I have the presentation in PowerPoint format, I can share it by myself. So the next project is PALANTIR project. We have Antonis Litke with us, the project technical coordinator. Please let me know if you are ready so we
Thank you
can
very
move.
much,
Okay.
Shiranush. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
I would prefer to share my slides if it's possible, as I have reduced it somehow, or whatever you
Okay.
prefer. But if
Yeah.
you are not prepared for this, I don't mind.
It's up on you. If you want, I can stop sharing so you can.
Okay, I will
Yeah,
start sharing.
yeah,
Yes, thank you very much.
yeah. Just a
Let me
moment.
share my screen. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, thank you for this organization of this event, of this very interesting webinar, where we have the chance to exchange our, let's say, work and common interest in the specific topics. So my name is Antonis Litke. I come from Infili Technologies, technical coordinator of the PALANTIR project, which stands for Practical Autonomous Cyber Health for Resilient Micro, Small, Medium-Sized Enterprises. Some key facts to start with. So in a nutshell, of course, it's a European R&D project, innovation action, under the program that we all stand here for. We are 17 partners with an overall budget of 5.3 million euros and having a duration of 36 months. Project started in September 2020 and is going to finish in August 2023. So currently we have performed also our midterm review. Let's say we are in a point where we have delivered some first results, as I'm going to show you later on, and we still have things to do in the sequel. The 17 partners are, spread different countries. You can see here an overall approach. So with some, let's say, coverage, but as you also understand, gives an added value on the different use cases we are planning to have, and we are going to show also later on. Very briefly, the motivation, similar as the one that you presented about Sentinel. We know that SMEs, micro enterprises, medium enterprises, and so on, are a significant portion of the business in Europe. It's not only in Europe, but in other countries as well. So there we can see also that, let's say, there are some particular needs for the specific SMEs. We have a high percentage of attacks that occur on and are targeted on SMEs. And all this results in a very high average cost of data breach, for instance, which, as you can see, during the last 5 years has almost doubled. And it seems that this is also the case that, for the SMEs, since they are being used also as a software target by criminals and also as a door for further exploitation in bigger enterprises, as we can see also in the different media and news lately that is happening. So there is a need. We all know this is a need for our, let's say, common topic of research. And here we show also the objectives of the PALANTIR. So in a similar approach, PALANTIR plans to provide the micro enterprises, the SMEs, with a practical framework to assess and manage the cybersecurity risks, and also define their cybersecurity needs. To provide an affordable managed security service, and also in multiple delivery models, as we are going to see. To provide also a hybrid incident detection with also live threat intelligence sharing. So it's one of the innovation points of PALANTIR and of further research that we are investing in. And of course, all this, because we said about affordability, is to ensure also the financial sustainability of the PALANTIR cyber defense. while trying to provide new business models, new things that will, on one side, be a benefit for the SME, but also disrupt the economic benefits of the attacker. So, in all, the envisioned results of the PALANTIR project is actually to build on risk assessment, virtualization, multimodal machine learning, remote attestation, and thus create a highly dynamic and flexible cybersecurity services that will form the security as a service. To do this, as you can see, it is going to cover a set of building blocks, as we are going to see, which all together will form an overall system accessible through a portal, as we are going to see later on. We have also a similar value chain as the one that you presented. Actually, we have, PALANTIR in the center, but the stakeholders who form the overall value chain are developers on one side, with emphasis, of course, on security services, the communication service providers, of course, a very big stakeholder, security as a service clients, and also all the GDPR data subjects, so which means employees, customers of SMEs, micro enterprises, who need also to be protected. So the service developers, they can build and monetize their services through particular assets that we deliver. The PALANTIR provider who actually deploys and maintains the whole PALANTIR ecosystem can be telcos, ISPs, cloud providers, cybersecurity companies, so bigger players. Security as a service client, mainly the SMEs who purchase the SECAs, the security as a service from the provider, and would like to consume the particular services. And also, as we said, the employees, the persons, after all, who at the same time that are using this network protected by the PALANTIR security. Our impacts, of course, the project has not finished, but this is our main goal so far. So on one side, to provide a significant cost reduction and guaranteed availability and latency, easier management for all the ISPs and the particular players who, let's say, can provide new revenue streams and new business models through PALANTIR. For the developers and manufacturers to provide the simplification of their entry to the new markets through the services that we are delivering, of course. For the SMEs and micro enterprises to have easy access to a wide set of services and tools for enhancing their security, to have access to low-cost actually services, to have what we call the one-stop shop service catalog with particular services that they can subscribe to and consume with multiple choices, and of course, by reducing the attacks that they are receiving, to have a significant benefit of not, let's say, having this particular loss that we have seen in similar cases. For the research and academia, different detection methodologies. For the EU and the overall ecosystem, improved synergies among the cybersecurity and the 5G future internet projects, things that we are doing as now with knowledge transfer activities, with liaison activities, and all this kind of, let's say, further knowledge generating activities. Standards, of course, because we have also a strong liaison, we have contacts, and we are doing further dissemination activities over there. So to improve and to provide new recommendations as a project. And of course, an overall emergency response in terms of improved quantity, quality, and the relevance of all this threat intelligence information that PALANTIR can capture and share accordingly. In overall, in the center of the PALANTIR concept, we have what we call a security as a service. We have a portal, because we said that we put emphasis on, let's say, the manageability and access to the different services. And the main building blocks that, let's say, are surrounding the particular security as a service model is the threat intelligence, which collects the network traffic, analyzes and reports threats, suggests remediations, and so on. The security orchestrator, which provides the remediation actions and the different rules and topologies. An important aspect is also the risk-based analysis that somehow Palantir has put significant efforts there to increase the automation. And the trusted attestation, so during the runtime to have a hardware software attestation to verify the integrity of the Palantir structure and all the services that are there and are being provided to the different users of the platform. As you can understand, this comes with a rather complex high-level architecture. So I'm just to give only some highlights here and focus on particular building blocks, so that to avoid having a very extensive presentation that might take rather long. So, aligned with our work plan as well, we have defined, as you can see here, a layered approach, which has been spread into different work packages that, as you can see, is trying to provide all those concepts presented earlier as building blocks and also as work packages that have individual components for further, let's say, integration into a common platform. So, on one side, on the data plane, if we can call it like this, we have all the security capabilities, hosting infrastructure with security capabilities, as we're going to see later on. We are going to show the different services that are being presented and can increase the security capabilities of the particular hosted infrastructure, which is capturing the data, which is sharing the data with the particular building blocks. So we have the threat intelligence, which actually is trying to, which actually gets the different metadata for hybrid threat captured through the security capabilities and through mechanisms that are, as you can understand, based on machine learning and artificial intelligence, provides some threat findings into the overall Palantir portal that can be further used. Those findings, and along with remediation actions, are being shared to the security capabilities orchestration. So a module which somehow is entitled to orchestrate the different security capabilities towards the hosting infrastructure. And for doing this, it's equipped also with a security capabilities catalog. So we can consider it as an overall catalog which has different features of the security capabilities and how they behave and how they can be offered to the security orchestrator to manage them, to orchestrate, to deploy them accordingly based on their needs. As well, this is being manageable through the portal as well, and provides at the same time, let's say, integrates with the trusted attestation and recovery. So there we have the attestation engine, the incident response on fault and breach management, the recovery service, so which again receives information from the attestation and the security capabilities and provides at the same time different breach and integrity alerts on the on-demand attestation and so on. And the risk analysis framework, which I'm going to detail a little bit later on. As said, for the security capabilities, which is one of the basic building blocks of the Palantir, we have the different virtual network functions with not only monitoring security capabilities, but also remediation security capabilities like intrusion detection systems, deep packet inspection, firewalls, net flow sniffer, and a very, let's say, sophisticated and diverse set of security capabilities that all together, as said, are providing the particular capturing of different events that are going to be shared later on the threat intelligence. Here, we have different subcomponents and sets, so it's one of the, let's say, innovative building blocks of Palantir, with subcomponents like distributed collection and data preprocessing, multimodal anomaly detection, threat classification and alarm management, and of course, the recommendation and remediation towards the particular threat. Different machine learning and deep learning algorithms are being deployed, like for instance the dynamic graph-based MIDAS, encoders, machine learning-based algorithms like for instance isolation forest, random forest, and data modalities to capture traffic through NetFlow and syslog data, which are being, let's say, fed into the particular threat intelligence and sharing platform. The risk analysis framework here, as again, let's say an innovation aspect of PALANTIR is actually that we have automated different processes, like for instance, the analysis of the SME risk based on particular business and asset profilings, vulnerabilities assessment. So through a set of different phases, we are trying to, one side, profile the risk, to identify the critical assets, to control the different selection, and of course, proceed with the implementation and management towards, let's say, the risk treatment based on the different services that are available on PALANTIR. The billing framework and SLA, again, here we consider as an innovative aspects of PALANTIR the fact that we are having 4 billing models: the subscription-based licensing, instantiation-based licensing, operation duration-based licensing, and of course a more complex licensing based on the different needs, because we said that different micro-enterprises, SMEs have diverse requirements, and a flexible billing framework is going to be appropriate for them. All this through a portal. Just, of course, we don't have time to go into detail, but as you can see, we try to visualize the things and make them clear, easy to manage, and define through the portal towards the different stakeholders the appropriate views so that they can take the decision and let's say enrich with security features their service offering. Concluding, we have 3 use cases. Again, of course, I cannot go into a very big detail, but only to highlight the thing that we have selected the use cases in such a way to, let's say, to cover the 3 different delivery models. So a lightweight security as a service, taking mainly also based the customer premises equipment, so more appropriately for the micro enterprises, a cloud security as a service model, following mainly here the hosted, let's say, managed security service platform, and the wide area one, we have about the security incident and event management, which actually follows a model that has to do with mobile and edge computing appropriately. So, for instance, the use case 1 is about securing private medical practices with lightweight SECAs, as we said. Here, the emphasis is on the small businesses to protect them from data breaches and ransomware attacks mainly. It's being leveraged for the medical data protection, let's say, particular focus on particular data. And here, the relevant cases are of incident detection and mitigation activities to safeguard, actually, as we all understand, the patient data and prevent medical identity theft. The second use case is the uninterrupted electronic commerce with cloud SECAs. Here, mainly, the focus is on securing the electronic commerce, micro enterprises, and the micro enterprises in our pilots and use case are located in 3 different cities in Slovenia. And here, actually, we try to, let's say, to define the different threat scenarios, including, for instance, targeted attacks such as spyware, ransomware, and denial of service attacks, which are a big pain for the particular micro enterprises who are being focused on electronic commerce. And last but not least, so the large scale, the wide area network has to do with the live threat intelligence sharing in a large scale edge scenario. So here, what makes an important aspect in differentiation is that we are talking about a large scale scenario. So we are talking on providing as well proactive cybersecurity measures, which of course, in order to be achieved, has to rely in the advanced features of the information sharing between the different entities. There, we deployed the two 5G testbeds coming from two partners of the project, one in Madrid with the 5-tonic testbed and one in Athens with the 5 Genesis, to emulate the traffic from the different SECAS clients on their edge network and try to formulate the more complex and large-scale pilots. And concluding, as said, we have undergone the first, the midterm review. So let's say the main results of the project so far is on one side to finalize this rather complex high-level architecture where we try to define also the different building blocks, but the architecture contains not only the high-level approach, the big picture that we have seen, but also the particular detailed, let's say, specifications of the building blocks that we have already started developing. We have finalized the development of different standalone components. So more or less everything has been developed as a first version, and the first integration has been achieved. This is why also I said the portal is the common integration point to provide access to the different building blocks. But for instance, issues like building blocks like threat intelligence, they are there as a first version, but in order to be in a valuable way integrated for the final pilots, we still have things there bringing into play different algorithms and try to identify how this threat indexing can be of high importance for the different use cases. So, of course, the plan is to, we have a first integrated demo, but now for the rest of the period, the plan is to actually fine-tune the different building blocks into providing a comprehensive story, a cohesive story, on the different use cases that we plan to, as described earlier on, to integrate and validate through the PALANTIR project. So here are our details. We would be happy if you join our channels or communication channels, and of course to keep in touch through this kind of events and be able to share our experiences and knowledge on our research projects. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to you also, Antonis. It was very fruitful presentation showing all the technical aspect of your project. Is there any questions to our colleague from PALANTIR project? Please, we have 2-3 minutes more, so before moving on.
I have a question, if I may ask, because I'm trying to see correlation with Sentinel here. You mentioned that SMEs are a soft target for cyber attacks and so on. And my question is more, my question is twofold, basically. The first aspect is it because, for example, you consider that SMEs do not have, for example, the budget to have a full cybersecurity suite, for example, or they don't have the knowledge to do so? What is the thing that they makes them softer targets? And then the second aspect of this question is, what is the thing that PALANTIR, what is the thing that makes PALANTIR ideal for SMEs specifically, and not for, I don't know, a larger enterprise, which I guess, well, they definitely have the resources, but I would like to hear your opinion on that.
Thank you very much for the question. Well, security, as we all can agree, affects not only the micro enterprise, but also the big players. For instance, however, the big industrial stakeholders, they can have the resources and, have the necessary security officers, the trained personnel, and of course, the purchase power to buy the appropriate software for this. So in that sense, Palantir gets more ideal. It does not neglect the big players because, as I said, for instance, the third use case takes into consideration also large, for instance, cloud service providers, internet service providers into consideration. Because when we talk about a large scale mobile edge computing model, then of course we can consider that this involves this kind of players. So, but there, the emphasis is more on the proactive part, on, let's say, in-time sharing of information. And in order to do this, somehow you have to streamline the process on how, once you capture the threat, you can transform it into, let's say, not only in the risk assessment, through the risk assessment framework, but also to a treatment plan, and then share it with the others and share it across not only the geographical area, but also the organizational area of the different, for instance, clients of a cloud service provider and so on. So the ideal part, however, for particular micro enterprises is that there is a big emphasis on the affordability of this, as you can see through different subscription models. Of course, on the fact that for them, having an easier to manage way, as you can see, through a more friendly portal where things are going to be provided through views to particular stakeholders. And of course, at the same time, access to this threat intelligence. So this means that, for instance, a micro enterprise would not consider it as a first priority to have their access. But once you deliver it in a very cost-effective way and easy to use, then this could bring forward also the micro enterprise, the small enterprise into the play. And regarding the other question about whether it's a budget matter or a knowledge, I would say, I mean, based on some questionnaires we had during the requirements analysis process, I would say that actually it's both, but perhaps in a different mixture, meaning the following. For instance, an SME, which is a research-intensive SME that has, for instance, the necessary personnel, an IT company, a startup, for instance, they can have the knowledge how to handle security. But it's a matter of budget and perhaps business priorities. So I would say that both are factors that can be of high importance. And in my view, the projects of our unit here more or less have identified this and consider that these two factors, for instance, can be of high importance and should be equally treated. So we tackle knowledge by, for instance, make things easier and providing the knowledge closer to the micro enterprise, but at the same time, we need to do it affordably, which means, for instance, open source solutions, platforms with no high costs, like, for instance, if security was made of gold, I don't know. And at the same time, the threat intelligence sharing, which can bring access to the SME on knowledge which is being generated on the edge of the universe of, let's say, the threat generation. So I don't know if I covered you, but we see it as well as a mixture of different things that we need to consider.
Yes, thank you, Antonis, for the very detailed answer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much,
I have one more
Antonis.
question.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Alexander from TRAPEZE speaking.
Mhm.
Antonis, thank you very much for a very detailed presentation. I heard that you are trying to promote the product of Palantir as a SECaaS model, so security as a service, software as a service, basically model. And on the other hand, you are planning a fully open source release in 2023. Can you just a little bit elaborate how are you maybe it's a little bit forward looking, but how are you going to combine the open source model with SIS model, like business, like, the monetization strategy, essentially exploitation?
Thank you very much for this question. It's always a thing in European projects. I understand the following: that for instance, we have partners and we are using also open source software. So for us to, because Palantir is a complex project, as you understand, by opening it up as an open source project, it provides value to the community, but there is also room for the security as a service deployment for particular players, for instance, who would like also to need some additional consulting services and so on. So the idea here is the following. Of course, the open source is going to be something which contributes to the bigger value of the community in having access to this knowledge and, of course, the source code. But at the same time, we see that, for instance, companies across Europe, but not only necessarily Europe, across globe, they might want to have, let's say, an additional benefit by saying, okay, look, I would like to have this version, which costs something, based, for instance, on subscription-based licensing, which is going to be provided as a service instead of, let's say, trying to do it by myself by getting from GitHub the code and try to reconstruct everything from scratch, which perhaps, you know, it will need a lot of documentation. So our somehow obligation to say, okay, look, we have generated this knowledge, we have this code, so we keep it open source, is something which contributes to the community. But at the same time, to try to streamline the different, let's say, software components into something which can generate value for a micro enterprise, this can provide an additional value which can be exploited through some billing models, as you can see here, which can be of benefit as well for the different enterprises.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
your questions. Unfortunately, we need to move on.
Yes, I'm sorry for this.
Yeah.